Tonight, I want to tell you a very old story, one that has lingered for over 2000 years. A story not about heroes or battles, but about shadows, light, and the slow journey to understanding. It comes from Plato, a philosopher who lived in ancient Greece. And though his world looked very different from ours, he was asking questions we still ask today. What is real? Why do some people see things so differently? And what happens when we begin to notice that reality might be more than what we first believed? So tonight, settle in. Let your mind slow down. And let's sleep on this. Imagine a dark, echoing cave, and inside it, a row of people, prisoners, chained by their legs and necks. They've been there their whole lives. They cannot turn their heads. They can only look forward. Behind them is a fire, and between the fire and the prisoners, others walk back and forth, carrying objects, statues, tools, things shaped like animals and people. The light from the fire casts shadows of these objects onto the wall in front of the prisoners. And the prisoners? They watch the shadows. They listen to the echoes. And they believe this is the whole world. The shadows are trees. The echoes are voices. They have never seen anything else. So why would they doubt it? This, Plato says, is how most of us live. We see shadows of truth. We hear echoes of ideas, and we think we're seeing clearly. But what if we're not? What if there's more? And here's something to ponder. Not all shadows appear by accident. Some are placed there, deliberately. Imagine someone chooses what passes in front of the fire, what statues are carried, what stories are told, what's allowed to be seen. In our time, the cave may look different. Screens, news feeds, slogans. But the feeling is familiar. What we are shown and what we are not shapes what we believe. Not all chains are iron. Some are made of comfort or habit or fear of standing alone. Sometimes the cave is a childhood belief. Sometimes it's the stories we inherit about who we should be, the job we're supposed to want, the success we're told to chase, the version of happiness that arrives in a neat little box. Sometimes it's the feed we scroll through each night, the filtered images, the curated headlines, the repetition of the same idea, told so often, it feels like truth. Have you ever had a moment when something you believed for years began to feel uncertain? A tiny flicker of light behind your shoulder. A voice asking, what if the shadows aren't the whole picture? Now imagine one prisoner is freed. Not suddenly, but gently. At first, he resists. His legs ache. The light hurts his eyes. He doesn't want to turn around. He's afraid. Fear is normal, Plato says. When all you've known is shadow, the truth feels too bright. But slowly, step by step, he does. And he sees the fire. He sees the objects, and then he sees the people carrying them. Everything he thought was real was just a shadow, a projection, an imitation. But that's not the end. Because beyond the fire, there's a path. A steep, rocky, difficult climb. And at the top of that path, there's an opening. Sunlight. The real world. Each step upward is strange and tiring. But with each one, something shifts. He becomes a little less afraid, a little more curious, a little more awake. Have you ever questioned something you once took for granted? Have you ever felt that slow, quiet shift inside, a loosening of certainty? That too is a kind of ascent. At first, the sunlight is blinding. He stumbles. He shields his eyes. He sees only brightness and blur. But with time, his eyes adjust. He sees trees, rivers, the sky. He sees people, not shadows, but real people. He hears birdsong, not echo, feels wind, not smoke. And then, finally, he sees the sun, not as a shape on the wall, but as the thing that makes all other things visible. He sees reality, and it fills him with wonder, and maybe a quiet grief. Grief for all the time he spent believing shadows, grief for those still chained below. Have you ever had a moment when something you misunderstood became suddenly clear? Not in a flash, but in a quiet settling. A truth that unfolded like dawn, not thunder. That's what this moment is. But he remembers the others, his friends still in the cave, still staring at shadows. So he goes back. The climb down is hard. The cave is dim. His eyes, now used to light, struggle to adjust. And when he tells them what he's seen, they laugh. They mock him. They say his eyes are broken. They don't believe in the sun. They don't believe in trees. They only believe in shadows. Because that's all they've ever known. And here's the hardest part. Some would rather stay in the cave. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. And sometimes they protect the shadows. They defend them. Because the alternative is too frightening to face. Have you ever tried to share something that changed your life and felt misunderstood or even rejected? Plato knew that pain. And he wrote this story, perhaps, to say, you are not alone. The cave is not just a place. It's a state of mind, a habit of thinking, a way of seeing the world that's shaped by culture, by fear, by repetition. And the climb, that's education. That's philosophy. That's any moment when you stop and ask, what if I'm wrong? It's the moment you pause before reacting. It's the quiet question before the certainty. And the sun? That's not just knowledge. It's understanding. It's clarity. It's the source of meaning. In Plato's time, the cave was myth and metaphor. But today, we might think of media, of advertising, of groupthink. Sometimes the shadows are beautiful. They comfort us, entertain us, make us feel right, but still, they are shadows. And if we never turn around, we may never know. So tonight, as you close your eyes, maybe you'll find your own cave, your own shadows, and maybe you begin your own gentle climb. It won't happen all at once, and it doesn't need to. The mind opens in whispers, not shouts, in questions, not declarations, in pauses, in listening. Is there something you've always believed that you've never quite questioned? A shape on the wall that's been with you so long, you forgot to wonder where it came from? You don't need to run toward the sun tonight. You only need to notice the warmth behind you. Turn gently, wonder slowly, and sleep, knowing you're not alone on this path. Others have made this climb. Others are still inside the cave. And all of us, every single one, are somewhere in between. Sleep well. Sleep on this.